ESPN fakes George Pickens highlight at Cowboys camp, full apology. Major blunder, ESPN airs fabricated George Pickens highlight from Cowboys training camp that never happened. In a stunning media misstep that has fans questioning sports journalism integrity, ESPN has found itself in hot water after broadcasting completely fictional footage of newly acquired Dallas Cowboys wide receiver George Pickens. The embarrassing error occurred during a recent episode of First Take, where viewers were treated to what was supposedly an incredible touchdown reception by the former Pittsburgh Steelers star. Host Molly Qerim enthusiastically presented the clip, praising Pickens for making what she described as an excellent touchdown catch on the first play of Cowboys training camp. There was just one glaring problem: Cowboys training camp hadn't even begun yet. The team's official camp wasn't scheduled to start until Wednesday, making the purported highlight physically impossible. But here's where it gets even more bizarre: not only was the timing impossible, but the player in the highlight wasn't even George Pickens. ESPN somehow managed to air old footage of a completely different Cowboys receiver while attributing the play to Pickens. The network essentially created a fictional narrative around a player who wasn't even present for a practice that hadn't happened. Following the realization of this major journalistic error, both Qerim and ESPN issued formal apologies for the misleading segment. This type of mistake raises serious questions about the verification processes at major sports networks and how such obviously incorrect information made it to air on a flagship program. For context, Pickens only recently joined the Cowboys organization after a significant offseason trade. The Pittsburgh Steelers dealt the talented but sometimes controversial receiver to Dallas after securing veteran star DK Metcalf in a separate transaction with the Seattle Seahawks. The Steelers-Cowboys trade has been one of the more notable wide receiver moves of the offseason, which makes ESPN's failure to accurately report on Pickens particularly surprising. And this is the part most people miss: in today's media landscape where networks race to be first rather than most accurate, are we seeing a dangerous trend of prioritizing exciting narratives over factual reporting? The pressure to deliver compelling content might be pushing even respected networks to cut corners on basic fact-checking. Do you think ESPN deserves serious criticism for this mistake, or was it just an innocent oversight in the fast-paced world of sports media? And what responsibility do viewers have to question what they are seeing rather than accepting it at face value? The intersection of entertainment and journalism in sports coverage continues to blur. Where do you draw the line? Adam Schefter unaware of ESPN's Dallas Cowboys training camp blunder. Startling oversight on live TV. The NFL news that slipped right past everyone in the room. Tuesday morning, ESPN's popular debate show First Take kicked off with what looked like a sizzle reel moment: a supposed first-play touchdown strike from Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott to newly acquired wideout George Pickens at training camp. The clip rolled, the panel reacted, and viewers at home might have thought, wow, Pickens is already lighting it up in Dallas. But here's where it gets controversial: the Cowboys hadn't even held their first official training camp practice yet. What First Take actually aired was an old piece of footage, several seasons old, in fact, of Prescott connecting with veteran receiver Brandin, who is no longer on the roster. In other words, the entire segment was built on a play that never happened, featuring a player who wasn't even there. Host Molly Qerim quickly apologized on air, clarifying that the receiver shown wasn't Pickens. What she didn't mention was the age of the video or Cook's departure from the team. That missing context would soon blow up on social media as fans pieced together the timeline. And this is the part most people miss. NFL insider Adam Schefter was right there on the First Take set when the erroneous highlight rolled. Given Schefter's reputation for catching every breaking detail in the league, you'd expect he spotted the slip-up immediately, maybe during a commercial break, maybe a minute or two later, right? Astonishingly, no. The very next day, Schefter went on Dallas sports radio station 105.3 The Fan. Co-host Shan Sharif casually asked when Schefter realized that the alleged Pickens touchdown was nothing more than recycled footage of Cooks. Schefter's reply? Total surprise. He still believed the mythical Pickens touchdown had taken place. Yesterday? You mean the first play score from practice, he responded, then pivoted into comparing Pickens's attitude to Cook's professionalism. As Sharif explained the viral mix-up, it became obvious that Schefter remained uninformed, a full 24 hours after the fake highlight made national waves. No, the mistake wasn't technically Schefter's. On a fast-moving TV set, on-screen graphics and clips can flash by before analysts can cross-check them. Yet the fact that a foremost NFL newsbreaker stayed in the dark long after the error exploded online is nothing short of remarkable. It raises a big, uncomfortable question. In the age of real-time sports media, can even the most plugged-in reporters keep up with their own network's content fast enough to vet it? Bold disagreement hook. Some say this is simply an honest production lapse that could happen to any show under time pressure. Others argue it's symptomatic of a larger issue, speed beating accuracy in modern sports coverage. Where do you stand? Food for thought before you comment. 1. Should on-air talent be responsible for fact-checking video packages on the spot, or is that solely a producer's job? 2. Do swift corrections, like Molly Qerim's apology, truly repair the credibility hit, or does the initial mistake linger in the public mind? 3. And what's your take on social media's role? Does the viral backlash help hold networks accountable, or does it amplify minor errors into unfair scandals? Sound off below. Do you sympathize with the First Take crew, or do you believe this kind of gaffe is inexcusable for a flagship sports network? The comments are open. Agree, disagree, or bring a completely different angle. Let's hear it. Adam Schefter unaware of ESPN's George Pickens, Brandin Cooks mix-up first take blunder. Startling mix-ups can happen on live television, but what happens when even the top insiders aren't clued in? ESPN's Adam Schefter, a name practically synonymous with NFL breaking news, became the unexpected center of attention after a case of mistaken on-air identity that spiraled into a viral debate. Want to know why NFL fans and media insiders are buzzing, and what this incident reveals about the fast-paced world of sports reporting? Let's dive in. Here's where things get interesting. During Tuesday's episode of ESPN's First Take, a highlight reel intended to showcase George Pickens actually showed a touchdown play made by Brandin Cooks from 2023 Cowboys training camp. Yet, the broadcast misidentified Cooks as Pickens, leading to confusion among viewers. Host Molly Qerim quickly owned up to the error, correcting it live on air and apologizing to viewers for the mix-up. All seemed well, or so it appeared. But this is the part that raises eyebrows. Despite being present during the live segment, Adam Schefter seemed completely unaware of the mix-up even 24 hours later. When appearing on Dallas's 105.3 The Fan the next morning, host Sean Sharif tried to discuss the viral mistake by asking when Schefter realized that Brandin Cooks wasn't actually George Pickens in the play. Clearly taken off guard, Schefter misunderstood, responding as though Sharif was inviting a player comparison instead of referencing the on-air blunder. Schefter went on to compare the professionalism of Cooks with Pickens' on-field talent, emphasizing that Pickens could become the top receiver in the NFL if he mirrored Cooks' approach. At this moment, it became obvious that Schefter still hadn't caught wind of the actual mistake. Sharif clarified, mentioning the ESPN clip that had gone viral, showing Cowboys footage from years past. Schefter confessed he had no idea the incident had even occurred, a bit surprising, considering he was physically on set at the time. Is it fair to expect leading insiders to catch every production error, given their packed schedules and constant barrage of breaking news? Many say Schefter's main focus is on delivering the latest developments, especially now with NFL training camps in full swing. Still, the disconnect doesn't go unnoticed by fans who expect a higher level of awareness from experts. So, how did this all happen? ESPN's segment pulled video from social media, specifically from the account FergSZN, which had incorrectly captioned footage of Dak Prescott throwing a touchdown, suggesting it was to Pickens, not Cooks. The original clip belonged to Kyle Youmans, a Cowboys reporter who captured the real play at camp in 2023 with Brandin Cooks as the star. Now, one mix-up has generated a pair of viral moments. First, the on-air identity confusion, and now, Schefter's apparent obliviousness to the situation. It's a clear example of how, even for seasoned journalists, the whirlwind pace of live sports media can lead to surprising oversights. But here's a thought-provoking twist. Does this incident expose a deeper issue within modern sports coverage, reliance on rapid social media cues and split-second judgments? Should high-profile reporters be held to a stricter standard of situational awareness, or is it only natural to miss an error in the midst of a media frenzy? What do you think? Is Schefter's slip forgivable, or does it reveal something bigger about the state of today's sports journalism? Share your perspective below. Do you agree or disagree, and why?